Beautiful. So if everyone wants to find whatever rest looks like for you, once again, you can find Shavasana, modified Shavasana. You can be seated, you can be standing, whatever feels good for you. And as we begin to settle in, I invite you to take that nice, slow, deep inhale through the nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And exhale, sigh it all out, let it go. One more time, a nice, slow, deep inhale in, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And exhale, sighing it all out, letting it go. And just starting to arrive on our mats this evening. Perhaps with each exhalation, feeling yourself become a little bit heavier on the mat beneath you. Maybe rolling your shoulders back and down and just releasing any tension from your day. And starting to notice your breath. How does it feel to inhale and to exhale? Does the breath feel warm as it enters your nose and fills your lungs? And perhaps it feels a little cool on your upper lip as you exhale everything out. Does your breath feel fast or slow today? With no need for judgment, just observing. Can you feel your belly rise and fall with each breath? And starting to notice the places in your body that are touching the ground. Maybe your shoulders and your arms and your legs and your pelvis. Feeling them become heavier on your mat beneath you. Feeling yourself supported on your mat by the waves of your inhalations and exhalations. Perhaps we start to inhale love and exhale all tension and stress. Inhaling peace and exhaling everything that doesn't serve you in this moment. And just staying with your breath for a few more cycles of inhalations and exhalations. When you're ready, if your body feels like it needs to start with some movement at this moment, I invite you to find some small, gentle movements. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Perhaps rock your head from side to side if that feels okay. And starting to expand our movements when you feel ready. You can roll out your wrists and your ankles. Beautiful. And then on our next breath, legs out wide, our legs together along the midline, reaching out to the edges of the mat, arms up overhead. Nice big reach stretch here. Inhaling, reaching nice and long through our fingers and our toes. Exhale, letting that go. One more time, a nice big inhale here, reaching nice and long. And exhale, letting that go. Leaving our feet out long, toes flex just gently towards the face, almost like we're standing here. We're gonna lift our arms up over our shoulders, palms facing each other, thumbs facing to the back or the top of your mat here, above your head. We're gonna inhale, and then as we exhale, we're just gonna reach our arms up overhead, thumbs pointing down to the ground. We're gonna inhale them back up to center, and then exhale up overhead. Just warming up our shoulder girdle here. Inhaling back up, exhaling up and over. 2 more times here, moving with your breath, really mindfully here. And the last time. Beautiful. Inhaling back up to center. And we're just going to cross our right arm over our left, really reaching around, trying to grab our shoulders here, giving ourselves a nice big hug. You can rock just gently here if that feels good. Reaching our elbows up towards the sky if you can, really stretching out our shoulders. Beautiful. We're going to release out of that, and we're going to hug one knee in and then the other towards our chest. Again, holding onto the back of the thigh or the tops of the shins here. You can rock side to side if your body feels like it needs movement in this moment. Always remember to listen to your body and do what feels comfortable for you. Beautiful. We're going to find a little bit of stillness here, letting our feet dangle, hands on our knees, and drawing a circle in the ceiling with both knees here in whichever direction you'd like to start with. Massaging out that sacrum. Beautiful. And then changing the direction if that feels okay. Beautiful. Bringing ourselves back to center, releasing our left leg out long, flexing our toes just gently towards the face, hugging that right knee in. Once again, holding onto the back of the thigh or the top of the shin. I swear the dogs don't move at all during the day, and then the second I get on Zoom. Beautiful. Holding this for a couple more breaths. Feeling your belly rise and fall into your thigh. And then on our next breath, we're going to bend our left knee, placing our left foot on the mat, reaching that right leg up. Right ahead, you can interlace your fingers on the back of the thigh if that feels okay. And we're going to circle out our ankle in one direction. And then the other. Beautiful. We're going to find some stillness. If it feels okay, we're going to reach to the back of our shin. And we're going to pull our knee towards our chest. And if it feels okay, we're going to lengthen that left leg out long, but you can keep it bent as well. Whatever feels good for you in this moment. Shoulders back and down and on the mat. Beautiful. On our next breath, hugging that right knee in towards our chest. And then we're going to reach our right leg out long. If that left knee is bent, we're going to reach it out long as well. You can shake that out. And then we're going to hug that left knee in towards our chest. This time, right toes gently flexed. Feeling your breath on your thigh here. Perhaps feeling your leg rise and fall with your breath. Beautiful. And then on our next breath, bending that right knee, placing the right foot on the mat, reaching the left leg up to the sky. Once again, interlacing our fingers behind our thigh if that feels okay. And we're going to circle out that ankle in one direction and then the other. Beautiful. Coming back to stillness if it feels okay. We're going to reach the top of our shin and we're going to pull that knee towards our chest. Shoulders on the mat. And then if it feels good, we're going to release that right leg out long. Beautiful. We're going to bend that left knee in towards our chest. And then we're going to bring the right knee in towards our chest as well. Knees to chest here. Beautiful. We're going to release our feet to the mat, finding our bridge pose. So walking our feet in as close as is comfortable, making sure our feet are hips distance apart, hips and knees in alignment. Really rooting our shoulders down, tops of our arms, and all four corners of our feet. Inhaling here. And then as we exhale, we're going to lift our hips up to the sky, finding our bridge pose here, holding this for a few breaths. Perhaps you can see your belly rising and falling with your breath. Checking in, hips and knees still in alignment. Beautiful. One more breath in, perhaps lifting just a little bit higher if that feels good. And then slowly lowering down one vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. And we're going to do our bridge flow tonight. So we're going to inhale to lift and exhale to lower. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. A few more times at your own perfect pace here. Really moving with your breath tonight. Staying in tune with it. Beautiful. Two more times through. And last time. And then slowly lowering down one vertebrae at a time. You can walk your feet out to the edges of the mat, windshield washer that out from side to side. Beautiful. And the next time our knees fall to the right, we're just going to let them gently lay there for a couple of breaths. Really turning on our parasympathetic nervous system here, getting rid of some stress. We're going to inhale our knees back to center and then lowering them to the left. Beautiful. Inhaling back to center. We're going to reach our right or our left arm over our head, rolling over onto our right or our left side body. Finding our breath here just for a few moments. And then we're going to press our hand, or pressing up through our hand and making our way into our tabletop. So finding tabletop here again, fingertips spread nice and wide, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Spine is nice and tall, belly button into spine here, core is nice and strong, really pressing through our palms. Perhaps pressing down just a little bit from the tops of our feet as well. We're going to inhale, and then as we exhale, tailbone lifts, belly lowers, heart shining forward, finding our cow. Exhale, really rounding in, finding our cat pose here. Inhaling forward, cow. And then exhaling up into cat. And flowing through this at your pace. Once again, remembering if one pose feels better than the other, feel free to hold it for a few breaths. Perhaps noticing where we feel stuck in our bodies and holding it for a breath or two, allowing breath in to find some space. Beautiful. One more time through. And rounding in. Beautiful. We're going to come back to our neutral spine here, tabletop. And on our next exhale, we're going to reach our left toes back to the back of the mat. And we're going to leave them placed on the mat just for a couple breaths. And we're going to rock back and forth, really stretching out our calf muscle here. Beautiful. We're going to come back to stillness. We're going to reach our right arm forward, thumb facing up. And then if it feels good, lifting that left leg off the floor, finding our spinal balance. Beautiful. Then on our next exhale, we're going to round in, knee to chest, elbow in. Exhaling out. Inhale, really rounding in like that cat back stretch. Exhaling out. One more time, rounding in. Elbow to knee. Exhale forward. We're going to bend our elbow and place our elbow in line with our shoulder, palm facing down. And then we're going to bring our knee out to the side. So our knee and our hip should be in alignment, almost like we're a dog at a fire hydrant here. Beautiful. We're going to inhale back to center. And then exhale, lowering our right hand and our left knee. You can find a little bit of movement here. You can rock out your hips. Circle that around. Before we find that on the other side. Beautiful. We're going to exhale our right foot to the back of the mat, keeping those toes tucked. And again, rocking back and forth. Stretching out that calf muscle here. Beautiful. Finding center, lifting that left arm forward if it feels good. Thumb facing towards the sky. And then that right foot can lift off the mat if that feels okay. And then on our next inhale, we're going to round our spine, bringing our knee toward our elbow. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, really rounding in here. Exhale, releasing. One more time. Rounding in. Exhale, releasing. Bending that left elbow, elbow in line with our shoulder. And then bending that right knee almost in line with our hip here. Like we're on a hydrant. Horrible verbal cue, but there it is. Releasing back to center. Left hand down or right knee down. Again, finding a little bit of movement if you need to. Circling out your hips. Beautiful. Then we're going to bring our knees to the edge of the mat. We're going to sit back on our heels, walking our hands forward, melting our forehead and our chest to the mat. Child's pose. Always remembering that you can find child's pose at any time. You can use this in place of downward facing dog, or you can just stay here if it feels okay. You can find a little bit of movement, rocking your head side to side, rocking out your hips. Beautiful. We're going to find stillness here just for a couple of breaths. And then on our next breath, we're going to walk our hands over to the left, just a little bit, really rooting our right hip down towards our right heel, feeling that stretch in the right side body. This is a fabulous stretch if you've been sitting all day, perhaps rounded over a computer. Beautiful. Inhaling back to center. And then walking our hips, our hands gently over to the right. Left hip rooting on down to that left heel, stretching out the left side body. Beautiful. We're going to walk our hands back to center. We're going to look forward at our hands, pressing through our palms, making our way back up to tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes, lift our hips up and back, finding our downward facing dog. Really feeling this downward facing dog, fingertips spread nice and wide, really rooting into our thumb, index, and pinky finger here. Bending our knees as much as we need to. Spine is nice and tall. Sits bones really reaching high to the sky here. You can pedal this out, find a little bit of movement. You can rock your hips from side to side. Beautiful. And then once we feel like we're in really good alignment here, we're just gonna root our heels towards the ground. Again, your knees can be bent, finding some stillness. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're gonna bend our knees looking forward, and we're gonna walk our feet to the top of the mat, finding that forward fold. Knees are bent, torso rooted on our thighs. Finding a bit of movement or finding stillness. Beautiful. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, flat back, hands on shins or thighs, crown of the head reaching forward. Exhale, bending our knees, forward fold. We're going to inhale, bend our knees, rooting down, rising up, and finding our mountain pose. Really strong mountain pose here, rolling shoulders back and down, really rooting into our feet here. Beautiful. I heard a really cool saying today that strong mountains are built with earthquakes, which I thought was really kind of cool. I probably really screwed up that quote, but it sounded good. Beautiful, really rooting down into our feet, crown of the head reaching up to the sky. We're gonna find some sun breaths. So we're gonna inhale up to the sky. Exhale, hinging at our hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rooting down, rising up. Exhaling to mountain. One more time, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bending our knees, rising up. And exhaling down to mountain. Beautiful. We're going to inhale up to the sky. We're going to exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to plant our hands. We're going to reach our left foot to the back of the mat, and we're going to lower that left knee. You can untuck your toes, right knee over your ankle, and we're going to rise up. Low lunge. Beautiful. We're going to exhale, fold forward, left wrist underneath our left shoulder. We're going to twist open to the right. Right arm can go up or on our low back. Beautiful. Circling that right arm around. We're going to tuck our left toes, lifting that left knee off the mat. And we're going to rise up into high crescent lunge. High on the bum end of that left foot. Beautiful. We're going to exhale. We're going to fold forward, planting our hands. We're going to bring that left foot in on a 45-degree angle. Our legs are closer together. We're going to find our pyramid stretch. So right knee, slight micro bend, but should be a pretty straight leg. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And then if it feels good, we're going to round in. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to soften that right knee, planting our fingertips. And we're going to reach that left knee to the back, or left foot to the back of the mat. We're going to lower that knee again, untucking our toes, rising up. Beautiful. We're going to exhale, fold forward. We're going to walk our hands back, straightening this right leg, right toes towards our face. Flat back here to start. And then again, rounding in if it feels good. Really stretching out our bodies tonight. And on our next exhale, we're going to lift up out of that. We're going to walk our hands forward, planting that right foot. Right knee meets left. And we're going to find a kneeling plank. So bringing our knees behind our hips, shoulders over our wrists here. And then we're going to exhale, elbows into ribs, lowering all the way down to the mat. Beautiful. Rooting into the tops of our feet and our pelvic bone. We're going to inhale up into a baby cobra. Squeezing our shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhaling up, baby cobra, perhaps lifting our hands off the mat this time. Exhale, lower. We're gonna press up and back, And find a child's pose for a breath. Beautiful. We're going to inhale to tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes, lift our hips up and back, finding our downward facing dog. Or you can remain in tabletop if that feels good. And then on our next breath, bending our knees and walking our feet to the top of the mat, finding our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And on our exhalation, we're going to find a cactus back bend. So squeezing our shoulder blades together, bending our elbows, heart shining forward here. Inhaling up and exhaling, mountain. Beautiful. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, right foot to the back of the mat this time, lowering that knee, untucking the toes if it feels good, rising up, low lunge. Beautiful. Exhale, folding forward, right wrist underneath right shoulder, twisting open to the left. Again, that left arm can go on the low back. Beautiful. Circling that left arm around, planting just our fingertips lightly. We're going to tuck that right toe, lifting that right knee off the mat and rise up. High crescent lunge. Beautiful. Hinging forward, planting our hands just gently, bringing that right foot in on that 45-degree angle, finding pyramid stretch on this side. So feet are about 1.5 to 2 feet apart. Slight micro bend in this left leg. Inhale, halfway lift. And then once again, exhale, rounding in if it feels okay. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, bending that left knee, planting our fingertips, reaching that right foot back again, lowering that knee, rising up, low lunge. Exhale, planting our fingers, walking our hands back, straightening this left leg, this time left toes flex towards the face. Again, you can rise up as well if you need to. And then if it feels good, rounding in, forehead to knee. Beautiful. We're going to walk our hands forward, planting that left foot on the mat. And we're going to bring that left knee back to meet the right. And we're going to find our kneeling plank again. So knees behind our hips, one long line of energy from the crown of our head to our tail, shoulders over our wrists. And then as we exhale, elbows into ribs, lowering all the way down to the mat. Beautiful. Setting up here, rooting into the tops of our toes. We're going to inhale up into baby cobra, squeezing our shoulder blades. Exhale, lower. We're going to press up and back into child's pose. Inhaling up into tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're going to go high on our toes and we're going to wave forward or move forward like a wave into plank or kneeling plank. Shoulders over wrists. You can drop your knees if you need to. And we're going to hold this for a few breaths, really pressing through our palms, shoulder blades reaching high towards the sky. Really reaching through the crown of our head all the way to the heels. And then as we exhale, hinging at our hips, up and back, downward facing dog or child's pose. Beautiful. We're going to look forward. We're going to bend our knees, walking our feet to the top of the mat, finding our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up, and finding mountain pose. We're just going to do a modified flow. So we're going to inhale up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, left foot to the back of the mat. This time you can lower that knee if you like. If not, rising up. High crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, right foot meets left, downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhaling forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, lowering halfway or all the way down to the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog or child's pose. We're gonna lift our right leg to the sky, three-legged dog or three-legged tabletop. Really rounding and bringing that knee towards our chest, right foot between our hands. Rising up, lunge or kneeling lunge. Exhale, folding forward. Planting our hands, bending that left knee, left foot meets right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And then we're gonna exhale, bring our hands to heart center, lowering our hips into our imaginary chair. Again, big toes can touch or feet can be further apart, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Checking in, toes in front of our knees. And then we're gonna find a gentle twist. Right hand outside of our left knee, left hand on our low back, twisting open to the left. Beautiful, we're gonna inhale back to center and we're gonna straighten our legs, bringing our arms up overhead and down to mountain. Beautiful, other side, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands right foot to the back of the mat this time, lowering that knee or rising up. Beautiful, exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, left foot meets right, downward facing dog or child's pose. We're gonna inhale, float forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. Lowering halfway or all the way down to the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. Back to downward facing dog or child's pose. We're gonna inhale our left leg to the sky. And then really rounding and bringing that left foot between our hands. Rising up, kneeling lunge or crescent lunge. Beautiful, exhale, folding forward, bending that right knee, right foot meets left, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And then exhale, hands down through heart center, lowering our hips into our imaginary chair. Again, checking in on our alignment, belly button into spine, core is nice and strong, toes in front of our knees. You can heel toe your feet in a little bit more if that feels better. And then twisting open to the right, left hand outside of our right knee, right hand on our low back. Beautiful, inhaling back through center. And this time we're gonna fold over our legs. We're gonna inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And exhaling to mountain. Beautiful, finding our mountain for a breath or two. You can have a sip of water if you need to. Beautiful. So finding our mountain pose here. We're gonna inhale all the way up to the sky. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rooting down, rising up. And exhaling to mountain. Beautiful, we're gonna bring our block to the top of the mat here. And then on our next breath, we're gonna reach our left foot to the back of the mat, finding warrior one. So left foot on that 45-degree angle, hips square to the front of the mat, lunging into that right knee. Arms can go all the way up at heart center or on your hips. And really feeling how strong your legs are. So really rooting into the outer side of your left foot here, pressing into your right foot, almost like you're pulling the mat away with your feet. Making sure our ribs are knitted in. We're not flaring them out. Really focusing on alignment here. Shoulders back and down. And just remembering to breathe. Beautiful. Inhaling our hands back through heart center. We're going to heel toe up that left foot. Finding warrior two, heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Arms forward and back. And once again, feeling the strength in your feet. Almost like you're pulling that mat apart. Squeezing our shoulder blades together just a little bit here. Checking in, making sure we can see the right toe on the inside of our right knee. Beautiful. Right palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior here. Exhaling back, warrior two. We're going to exalt one more time, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Still lunging into that right knee. Exhaling forward. Bending this right arm, placing it on the top of our thigh, circling this left arm around, opening up, supported side angle. If it feels good, we're going to bring our right palm down, bicep by our ear, really reaching through those left fingertips. One long line of energy on our left side here. And then we're going to exhale back up, exalt our warrior. Beautiful. One more time, flowing down, supported side angle, back up, exalting our warrior. And then we're going to hold our side angle here for a few breaths again. You can reach that arm forward if it feels good. Your left hand can also be on your low back if you're taking care of shoulders. You can find extended side angle, pressing that elbow into knee, knee into elbow. Beautiful. We're going to lift back up. Warrior two, straightening this right leg, really kicking out our left hip, reaching forward, toppling into our triangle. Really opening up the left or the chest up towards the sky. Beautiful. We're going to lunge just gently into that right leg. Left hand is on our left hip. We're going to heel toe in and reach forward for our block. Right wrist underneath our right shoulder. Left leg lifting up if that feels good. Left toes flex towards our face. Opening up our hips here. Left hip on top of our right. And then if it feels good, left arm lifting up, balancing half moon. Holding for another breath. And then we're gonna lunge into that right knee. Woo! Making our way back more gracefully than I did, finding our warrior two. Right palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior one final time. Beautiful, exhaling, finding our warrior two. We're gonna pivot that left foot, circling this left arm around, crescent lunge. And then as we exhale, we're gonna hinge forward, finding our airplane arms, so arms along the sides of our body, palms facing down, squeezing our shoulder blades together, fingertips reaching to the back of the mat. Exhaling back up, crescent lunge. On our next breath, folding forward, fingertips on the mat, bending that left knee, left foot meets right. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down to rise up to the sky. And exhaling, mountain. Beautiful, finding that on the other side this time. So starting in our strong mountain pose, shaking anything out you need to here. And then on our next breath, right foot reaches back, finding our warrior one on this side, right foot on a 45-degree angle. Once again, arms reaching up at heart center on our hips. Really feeling strong and rooted in our feet, rooting onto the outside of our right foot. Pulling that mat apart with our feet. And breathing. Beautiful. Hands down through heart center, heel toeing out that right foot, heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Warrior two. Left palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior. Beautiful. Exhaling, warrior two. Exalting one more time. Left palm reaches up, reaching back if that feels okay. Beautiful. Here away, warrior two. Bending that left arm, placing it on the top of our thighs, circling this right arm around just once, opening up, supported side angle. Once again, palm can face down, fingertips reaching forward, bicep by our ear. Beautiful. And then we're going to rise up, exalt our warrior. Inhaling back, supported side angle. Back up, warrior two. Inhaling to supported side angle. We're going to hold this. Once again, arm can be overhead. Right hand can be on our low back. Left arm can be extending down. Just making sure we're not dumping into the side of the body. The right side is really nice and long here. Beautiful. Making our way back to warrior two. Straightening this left leg, kicking out our right hip, reaching forward, triangle. Left hand wherever it lands on our left leg here. Beautiful. On our next breath, right hand on our right hip. We're going to soften that left knee. We can heel toe in. And we're going to reach forward for our block. Left wrist underneath our left shoulder. Right leg extending high if that feels okay. Right toes flexed, right hip over top of our left hip. And right arm extending if that feels good. Holding for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to soften that left knee, making our way back. Warrior two. Right palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior. Beautiful. Exhaling back. Warrior two, pivoting this right foot, circling this right arm around, crescent lunge. And then hinging forward, finding our airplane arms on either side of our body, palms facing down, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Really active fingers, fingertips reaching to the back of the mat. Exhaling back up, or crescent lunge. We're going to exhale, fold forward, planting our hands, bending that right knee, right foot meets left, forward fold. Beautiful. We're going to hang out here in our forward fold for a couple of breaths. And then on our next breath, left fingertips in front of our left foot, left knee bent, and we're going to twist open to the right. Once again, right hand can be on our low back. Beautiful. Inhaling back through center. Right fingertips in front of our right leg this time. Right knee bent, twisting open to the left. Beautiful. Bringing ourselves back to center. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And exhaling to mountain. Beautiful. We're going to find our balance pose tonight. We're going to do tree pose again. So we're going to root into our feet here, really rooting into our left foot to begin with here. Palms can be at heart center. We're going to point our right toe out. We're going to flex that right foot, externally rotating that heel. And we're going to bring those right toes to the mat. And then if you'd like, you can lift your foot up either above or below the knee. Once again, just not on the knee. Pressing our foot into our leg into our foot, opening up our hip here. Hands can be at heart center, or we can grow our branches. Beautiful. Inhaling our hands back through center. We're going to close that up and shake that out. We're going to find that on the other side. So hands at heart center, really rooting into our right foot. Left toes out, pointing that left foot. We're going to flex those left toes and then externally rotate that hip. Bringing those toes down. Again, our toes can remain on the mat, or we can lift our foot up above or below the knee. Really opening up our hips here. And again, if it feels okay, growing our branches. Beautiful. Closing that up, hands through heart center. And letting that go. Again, shaking that out. You can find a sip of water before we head down to the mat. Just making sure that our block is accessible, because we will need that. And then meeting in our mountain pose. We're going to inhale up to the sky. Exhale, hinging at our hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, stepping our feet back, finding our tabletop. And then our back bend tonight is just going to be a gentle camel. So we're going to rise up into kneeling here. Again, knees should be underneath our hips, but wherever is comfortable for you. Now, if it's really uncomfortable to stay upright, you can lower your hips onto your heels as well. But I really want you to focus on pressing your hips forward here. So our hips are not going to move with our back, just our upper spine is going to move. Beautiful. We're going to find a couple movements here just to open everything up. So arms facing forward, palms facing down. And we're going to reach this left arm up and over, reaching towards our left heel. Again, we're not rounding down, we're just opening up. Inhaling that left arm back up to center. Beautiful. Circling this right arm around, reaching back towards our right heel. And then back up to center. One more time on each side, left arm circling around, reaching toward that left heel. Really feeling like someone's pulling you up from your heart center here. Last time on this side, circling this right arm around, reaching back. Beautiful. We're going to come back down to center. We're going to reach both arms up overhead this time. We're going to reach our hands back to our back, almost like we're putting our hands in our back pockets. Really squeezing our shoulder blades together, which is going to make our heart lift a little bit. And then we're going to tip almost like there's a string in your heart center pulling you up towards the sky. So it's just your upper back that's moving into this gentle camel pose here. Pressing your hips forward almost like we're flat on a wall here. Really lifting up and out. One more breath. And then exhaling back to center. We're going to sit back on our heels. Arms can be forward. Chin to our chest. Beautiful. Looking back up, we're going to make our way into our tabletop, and then we're going to roll over into our seated position. Legs outstretched in front of us, fleshy bits away. Beautiful. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky. And then as we exhale, really hinging at our hips, reaching our arms forward before we round in. Seated forward fold. Holding this for a few breaths here. Feeling gravity set in. Perhaps feeling those micro movements with your breath where you inhale, lifting up just a little bit, and exhale, rounding in. And then on our next breath, we're going to rise up out of that. Beautiful. We're going to make our way into the middle of our mat. And we're going to safely lower down onto our backs, and we're going to bring our block with us. So we're going to hug one knee and then the other towards our chest, knees to chest. Again, you can find a little bit of movement here. Beautiful. We're going to release our feet to the mat and we're going to find our figure four stretch. So right ankle below our left knee, right toes are flexed, externally rotating, just pressing out that right knee to the back of the mat or to the bottom of the mat. And if that feels okay, stay here. If you'd like to add on, hugging that left knee in towards our chest, shoulders on the mat. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're going to come out of that, lowering that left foot, uncrossing that right knee. And you can find a windshield washer side to side if that feels good. Beautiful. And then we're going to find that on the other side. So we're going to cross our left knee, our left ankle below our right knee. Left toes are flexed. My goodness, dog. Left knee pressing to the bottom of the mat here. And then if it feels good, hugging that right knee in towards the chest. Shoulders on the mat. Beautiful. On our next breath, coming out of that, uncrossing that left knee. And again, you can windshield washer that out from side to side. We're going to find a gentle supine twist. So arms in cactus or T, knees together here, feet on the mat. Inhaling. And then as we exhale, dropping our knees over to the right. You can look straight ahead or out to the left. Both shoulders on the mat. And on our next breath, inhaling our knees back to center. And then on our next exhalation, dropping our knees out to the left, looking straight ahead or out to the right. Beautiful. Inhaling our knees back to center. And we're going to grab our block. We're going to lift our hips just gently, placing the block on its lowest setting underneath our sacrum, which is that triangular bone on the base of our spine. So our blocker, our book, whatever we have here. And we're going to lower our hips down, settling that in a supported bridge pose. And if this feels good, stay here. If you'd like to add on finding our supported legs up the wall, we're going to lift one knee and then the other, lifting our feet up towards the sky, making sure that our knees are over our ankles are over our hips so that we're not turning on our core muscles here. Our legs are just relaxing and letting go. And holding this here for a few breaths. And if this feels like rest for you, I invite you to stay here. If you'd like to find final resting pose, we're going to bend one knee and then the other, lowering our feet slowly to the mat. Lifting our hips up, removing our prop, lowering down, legs out to either corners of the mat, arms on either side of our body. Final resting pose, Shavasana. Taking a nice big inhale in through the nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And exhale, sighing it all out, letting it go. And really becoming heavy here for a few moments of rest, relaxation, and restoration. Allowing me to hold this virtual space for you until it's time to bring you back. And starting to welcome yourself back with a breath. If you are still in supported legs up the wall, I invite you to bring your feet gently to the mat. And then starting to find a little bit of movement here when you feel ready. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. You can rock your head from side to side. And then starting to expand those movements, rolling out your wrists and your ankles. And then finding any other movement that you need here. Full body reach stretch, perhaps another nice big hug, knees to chest. Or maybe even some more stillness. And in your next few breaths, I invite you to bend your knees, placing your feet on your mat, reaching your right or your left arm over your head and rolling over onto your right or your left side body. Taking a breath here. Perhaps noticing if you feel a little more relaxed now. And then on our next breath, pressing through our palm and making our way up into seated lotus pose, whatever that looks like for you. And then taking one last breath together, we're going to inhale our arms up to the sky. And exhaling our hands down through heart center, really pulling in all that beautiful, fresh energy. Thank you so much for joining me again this evening. The love and the light in me truly sees and honors the love and the light in each of you. Namaste.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Saturday.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.